So this is the old Switch, right?
Yeah, it's the
I'm
first
also
one.
going to have you kind of talk me through this because I'm not a Switch expert. So it's going to be bigger.
Bigger screen. Oh, it's a matte finish.
You know, the first thing that I thought of, I'm already going to pause it. The first
Yeah.
thing that I thought of when I saw this ad was this looks like an Apple ad. Like there are elements of this that I'm like, this is what Apple would do.
It's very
This does not look like
clean with
Nintendo.
the yeah. Yeah,
Well,
I didn't get that, but now that you say that, I'm like, yeah, definitely.
well, like the curving out of the line and stuff like that. I'm
Hmm.
like, oh, this is Apple. And then some of the movements later on to get into like the nerdy part of this are very like Apple
Yeah.
product movements. But
Yeah.
we'll keep going.
USB-C on the top.
Now, did the first one have a stand?
It did. It was flimsy.
Okay.
I like the controllers. I like this.
So the magnetic.
Matt, I don't know. I don't know yet.
It's got to be magnetic, right? This is
Gotta
Apple.
be.
Welcome to Apple
Yeah.
advertisement right here.
Hopefully they fix the Joy-Cons, the drift.
Yeah, that's like a.
Like it.
It's got to be a magnet little thing.
Has to
It's
be.
the only way to do that, right?
Yeah.
So it goes
I'm
into like
pumped about
gameplay
it.
stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not a like so I have a Switch and I say I have a Switch. Really, my wife has a Switch that I bought
Yeah.
and became her Switch. I like the Switch a lot. My big deal with the Switch, and this is not this video, my big deal with the Switch is just I want a really good remake of the old Pokemon games, and I want that to come out on Switch, and then I would never put it down. Right?
Well, you have Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. I didn't like those. I didn't like those games.
I want like Pokemon Blue or like, Gold or whatever. But I liked the Switch, especially during COVID, which is when I got one. When they were very rare, I went out and got one. I liked it, and I didn't have very many things that bugged me about it that I felt like I really needed an upgrade other than the battery life. You know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for someone, again, I'm a very like I'm not a Switch aficionado. Like you talked about like stick drift and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I never experienced that.
Yeah, it's the stick drift stuff is pretty common, especially with the older Switches. I don't know. I don't have one of the OLED Switches, which was one of the newer ones that came out recently, with the updated screen and stuff. And it looked like they updated the Joy-Cons. I just don't have one, so I don't know. I know my brother, he had to basically get new Joy-Cons, I think like 3 times. Now, of course, we could have taken them apart and replaced the joysticks and everything. But that's like a huge thing. So hopefully with the new Joy-Cons or whatever they're going to call them, they would have, upgraded that or fixed them to some capacity, which would be nice.
So before this, you text me and you said you had taken some notes, which is kind of crazy. Usually I take notes. You don't take notes. I have no notes on this whatsoever. So what are some things that you noticed that you wrote down about this trailer or release video, whatever you want to call it, that you got excited about as a Switch fan?
So one, and this is strictly speaking, like I said, I have the original Switch, the bigger screen, which is nice, and I'm pretty sure it has to be OLED because they came out with the OLED screen, the OLED Switch previously. The new look on it looks good. I like the little accents of the color in each of the Joy-Cons, with the blue and then like the coral reddish pink, whatever. The one thing I noticed was the controller, how it attaches to the Switch itself. Again, like I don't play my Switch as much as my brother does. I grab his Switch and his like Joy-Cons like fold a little bit, so it's like worn out. He plays a lot.
Well, they're also like the attachment mechanism. That is one thing that I remember is janky and annoying to take on and off from what I remember playing the game. And it's so much so that I wouldn't I'd get annoyed when I had people over and I wanted to share my Switch controller. So I'm like, oh, I gotta figure out how to take this off. And maybe I'm just dumb, but I'm excited that it's going to be magnet looks like, and it'll click in rather than
Yeah.
whatever the contraption
Hopefully,
was before.
I the only possible downside I see to that is, one, your magnet's kind of wearing out over time. Two, I don't know how well it's going to hold. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
with
like you
the
get
with the
mad
rail
and like,
system, like if I'm gonna, be playing a game and like I bring my hands out, is it gonna rip the controllers out and then drop the switch? I don't know.
bin gate,
Um,
like iPhones, like they try to do something cool.
exactly.
Maybe it's
It's gonna be
hopefully it's
Joy-Con
not
gate.
that. Yeah, hopefully it's not that. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good point. Like how strong, if it is a magnet, if there isn't
Mhm.
some type of click, how strong are they, and how can you keep from like rage destroying your
Exactly.
Switch 2?
And like I just noticed whenever, because I've watched the trailer a few times, I've watched people review it and stuff like that, their speculations. Um, the whenever we just watched it, I was looking for, because we had talked about it before, on the top, and I'll probably drop it in here. I saw like a little, like where the Joy Cons latch in. I saw a little tiny hole at the top, so there might be a latch of some sort in there as well. But like as far as this goes, this trailer goes, doesn't look like there's much of anything other than the plug. So it probably is mostly magnetic. Not too sure.
It also looked like these are computer renderings of the product, and it might look a little different when
Hmm.
it comes out.
Yeah.
Unless it could just be like really, it's hard for me to tell nowadays. It's like just really fancy cameras and fancy moves, or
Right.
is this all just in a computer rendering and all that other
Yeah.
stuff?
What telekinetic person was sitting there flipping around the switch, in midair? What? No. Um. So, the other thing, just on the surface that I noticed, let's see, because there was some stuff that I had got from other people, um, that is not like surface level stuff.
Mhm.
Um, the kickstand, which is pretty cool. I don't know that I would ever need to fold it down like that, but the way that they did it made it seem like the kickstand has a bit of a spring in it.
Mhm.
So maybe it can lock in a place, and then you like unlock it and it'll spring back into, where it needs to be. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Not too sure yet.
Yeah, I don't know that I'd
Um,
ever want to fully lay it almost flat like it was. That
mm,
doesn't make much sense. I've never like hunched over a
well,
table trying to play video games.
there was one or two games that were supposed to be played like that, where you would put it on a tabletop and like you can have multiple switches like next to it, and like they could connect a
Mhm.
certain way or something. I never played it. It looked neat. It
Mhm.
looked sort of gimmicky. That'd be the only thing, is if they start putting out games like that again. The dock looks really clean. Um, it looks like it's a bit smaller, or probably the same size as the original dock. But the Switch is bigger, so it like you have a lot more screen space that like pops over the top. Um, and hopefully, it has like an Ethernet connection. It didn't show anything as far as connections go, but like an Ethernet port, HDMI, USB-C, all that stuff.
Were you disappointed that the the grip for the Joy-Cons when you take them off, like the controller version of the Joy-Con, kind of looks
Hmm.
the same as the old controller? They didn't refresh that because I always thought
Yeah,
that that old controller felt plasticky and kind of not not as good as I would like it to be. Yeah, it kind of looked exactly the same.
it looks borderline the same exact thing as this. I'm not a huge fan of these per se. I'd much rather like a Pro controller or something,
Yeah.
mainly because it it feels scrunched up. It feels like one of those old, what is it, the old GameCube controllers that you could get, like the
Yeah.
Pelican controllers, the small ones.
Mhm.
I used to have some. It just feels tiny, and like the controller's not like here. It's like, I don't know. It's weird. I wish they'd have kind of done a little bit of reformatting on that, but
You would think that
also I don't know if they could have, with
I
the
don't
way
know.
the Joy Cons are shaped.
Yeah, but the plastic part is so condensed, I think, and it's just
Hmm.
plastic. They couldn't have made, like, a little bit more plastic to stretch it out a little bit. I don't know. To me,
Yeah.
I feel the same way. It's like it my hands I don't have big hands, but my hands are too big to kinda it was just uncomfortable. I
Yeah.
wish they would have thought about redoing that if there's any negatives that I could see.
Yeah. Now, so a couple things that weren't like surface level stuff for me. I had to watch a couple of people kind of give their thoughts on it, and these are like things I took away that I thought were really cool. On the Joy-Con itself, and I'll pop it back up here, um, where the connector plug is, there's another little hole that's right there, and people are speculating that to be a couple different things. The main thing, I thought it was going to be like a latch system or whatever, like that would be the hole that would like latch in, you hit the release and you can pop them off. The other thing that I thought was interesting, and kind of weird, is an IR sensor. So I don't know of any games that would require an IR sensor like the Wii, right? Um, One guy said it would be kind of cool if you can flip the Joy-Con on its side and use it as a mouse. That would make the only reason why he kind of said that, and why it maybe makes a little sense, is whenever they in the trailer they pop the other little attachments and then put the Joy Cons there and then like zoop, zoop, zoop. I don't know.
I
It
saw
feels
that.
weird.
I saw that too, and that would be cool. But I also think with things like that, is that a little gimmicky?
Yeah,
Like, are there going to be games that really are made for the Switch that also require a mouse or require you to use?
Well, one game in particular that is kind of cross-platform, Minecraft. That's the first game that I could think of. People play on PC. Well, if PC players get a new Switch, but then they play Minecraft on the Switch, I mean, you could have a mouse and a keyboard. Now, I don't know that I would want to use the Joy-Con as a mouse. I'd rather
Mhm,
just Bluetooth the mouse and keyboard.
mhm.
Um, Again, it brings it into that gimmicky, side of things. But I mean, they could definitely. This is literally just a reveal trailer. They could do so much with an IR sensor if they wanted to. Um, and I think really, the hopes that I have is better internals. Um, better processing power. That way, they can run some beefier games. Not that the Nintendo needs it, because I mean, realistically, all I need to happen is the next Pokemon game to come out not be as glitchy and laggy as Scarlet and Violet were. That's it. That's all I need to not see Pokemon doing like this on the ground. What was that, Nintendo? I don't understand.
I did read an article about this.
Mhm.
I saw that it's rumored that the RAM is going to move up to 12 gigs from 2 gigs of RAM
Oh
on the
my
original
god.
Nintendo. Which
Oof.
honestly makes it so
That's
more impressive.
yeah.
What the original Nintendo Switch was. It's like 2 gigs of RAM all the way up to 12. That's the rumor. Again, there's none of these technical specs have been released, so take
No.
everything that you see with a grain of salt. But that is the
Yeah.
rumor. So that would be cool. I also don't know. I don't know if you're buying a Switch for the RAM either, right? You're kind
Mm-mm.
of buying a Switch because it's a Switch, and it's been the same way all the way back to like Game Boy Advances and things like that. It's
Yep.
not necessarily the processing power that you're buying it for. It's the experience and the type of games you're getting because they're so selective on where you can play them if you don't have an emulator, but also
Mm-hmm.
the ability to play them on the go. I think is really cool.
Yep. I, for one, will most likely get one of the Switch 2s. Uh, I literally get anything Nintendo. Like, it doesn't matter. I'm biased with like PlayStation, and like I'm not a Xbox guy, but overall, the system that wins for me is going to be a Nintendo system regardless. Except for the Wii U, which we don't really talk about that console whatsoever because it was hot trash. I never owned one, never will. The only thing that was decent on there was the Smash Bros, and that was it. Yeah, that one was absolute garbage. Every other system that they've put out has been amazing.
So I want to. So you've said you're buying it.
Mhm.
You're in.
No, I'm in.
I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence. One, because one of my beefs with Nintendo Switches in general is the lack of games and the lack of new games that came out. It's in comparison to the other types of systems, it's very uh, i- limited to how
Mhm.
many games that are new and come out. And it's kind of like the same type of games, right? Like I never played Link. I should have played or Zelda. I'm sorry, Zelda.
Yeah.
Ooh, ooh,
It is Link. You're
ooh.
correct there, but
Right,
the
right, right,
game
right.
Legend of Zelda.
Call of the Wild. I know what it's called. So I never played that. I never played the follow-up to
Close.
that. I meant to. I just haven't. Right? Is it called The Wind?
No, Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild.
And Tears of the Kingdom now. There's a second
Oh,
one.
just please don't turn the comments off on this one.
That's so
Um,
funny.
I haven't played those games. I should have
Yeah,
played
yeah.
those games. I haven't yet.
You
I play for
definitely
like
should.
Pokemon. Pokemon Snap was really cool on it.
Hmm.
So I played Sword and Shield. I thought it was great. So
Yeah.
also Animal Crossing. What a beautiful game.
Great.
Fantastic. Right. Here's my point. The reason I don't know if I'm going to get a Nintendo Switch 2 is one, I don't care about graphics on a Switch. I
Hmm.
don't care about a bigger screen on a Switch. I thought that the screen on the first Switch was perfectly fine. The controllers, it's kind of like I don't know if I'm going to pay that much to upgrade my controllers. So what I need it to be able to do like a different level of gaming for the Switch.
Hmm.
Not necessarily saying that I want them to come out with games that can only be switched to, but if they are going to bump it up to 12 gigs of RAM, I would like to see something a little bit more beefy inside the Nintendo Switch than
Yep.
what was in the original Switch. Because I have an original Switch, like I said, my wife has an original Switch, and
Hmm.
it's perfectly fine. It works great. The last part of that, the other missing piece, and this is I want to throw it back to you for this. I want to know how much it costs. I've seen $400 to $500 put out there. I think that is way too expensive. You can buy a brand new Xbox Series X for like 450, 500 right now.
I think that the price doesn't matter because Nintendo dabbles in the realm of Apple, and anything that they're going to put out, people are going to buy. Like, it doesn't matter what the price is. People are going to be like, that's a little pricey, but it's a Nintendo Switch 2 and I have to have it. It's like getting a new iPhone, like that. That's the way I kind of look at it. With the Xbox or PlayStation, like I could be like, the PS5 came out when it did. I still have my PS4. I'll rock with that for a little while. And I'll save up some money to get the PS5 or something. It's not like I need to have it. But the
I
new
feel
Nintendo product comes out and I'm like, we got to have that.
I feel completely opposite.
Mm-hmm.
I'm completely the other way. It's like when the new console, like the actual, big consoles come out, I'm like, I have
Mm-hmm.
to have them. In fact, we have in our house, we have a new PlayStation, we have an
Mm-hmm.
Xbox Series X. I always skip the pros because I don't really care about like the
Yeah.
little pro thing. But when the brand new systems come out, I'll grab it. But the Nintendo, I don't care as much about because I don't think that like, I guess what I'm saying is I want there to be a big jump in
Mm-hmm.
ability. The kickstand, the new matte black, a bigger screen, better controllers. That doesn't do it for me, especially not if it's going to be $500. Maybe if it was
Yeah.
350. So I'm hoping that that's on the horizon as well. And I think that the rumors of there being 12 gigs of RAM inside of it point to the ability to do something a little bit more cool.
That's what I would hope for. I mean, I don't know. Nintendo just puts out great products. And there's no way in ever we're sponsored by Nintendo. This is literally just me being a fanboy. But I think their stuff is great. The last thing that I have is a missed opportunity on Nintendo's part.
Okay.
Why call it the Nintendo Switch 2 when you could have called it the Super Nintendo Switch? I mean, come on. That'd have been the cool.
Yeah.
That'd have been way cooler.
Yeah. That is. Yeah.
The
That's better
Super
marketing, I
Nintendo
think.
Switch. Like, come
Mhm.
on.
Even
That
like
was
Super Switch would have been cool.
the
The
Super
Nintendo Super
Switch.
Switch. Yeah, I mean, yeah, your Nintendo throw a Super in there, you know?
Yeah, that's what one of the things I saw. It was like a Nintendo stepping in the realm of PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like so now it's going to be. They figured it out. They're like the Switch is it. That's our bread and butter. We're going to get the Switch 3 next. Or the
Yeah.
Switch 2 OLED. Well, the Switch 2 holographic, whatever. You know. I hope the Super Nintendo Switch or the Nintendo Super Switch, like that'd have been so cool. Switch 2 though still looks clean.
I will give respect to Nintendo for not rushing this out either. They could have released a Switch 2 or 3
Mm-hmm.
years ago and people would have bought it up. So
Mm-hmm.
and I think that other companies would have taken advantage of that as well. So I'm glad that they kind of have slow played this, and hopefully them slow playing it means that it's a great product, and hopefully it's so good that I have to buy one. That's my hope.
Well, I'll let you know because I'll probably go in before you do.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Especially with that new Mario Kart they advertised in the trailer. We didn't get that far in it, but there's a whole thing.
Yeah,
The gameplay is all new Mario Kart stuff.
maybe we can take a look at the rest of the trailer next time and
Yeah.
talk about our favorite Nintendo games and how terrible I am at Mario Kart, Super Smash Bros, all of the typical Nintendo games.
Sounds good to me. Well, I mean, that's all I have essentially for the Switch 2, or as I would like to call it, the Super Nintendo Switch. If you've seen it, if you have watched the trailer, all the stuff, if you're a Nintendo fan, let us know down in the comments. Tell us what you liked about it. Tell us the possible rumors, maybe, and what you didn't like about it. But yeah, we'll catch you in the next one.